Will America choose bankruptcy or solvency? With government spending reaching new highs every day, that's the stark choice our country faces unless we get serious about reining in spending and tackling the third rail of American politics. You know what it is? Entitlement spending. My next guest is a man with a plan just to do that. Michigan Congressman Thaddeus McCotter has seen enough, and the title of his new book sums it up. Listen to this: Seize Freedom, American Truths and Renewal in a Chaotic Age. Congressman McCotter, it's a pleasure. You're a regular here now. Welcome back to Freedom Watch.
Thanks for having me on again, Judge. I'll try not to tax your patience.
No, you don't tax our patience at all. We appreciate you joining us, Congressman. Your colleague, Congressman Paul Ryan, proposed a controversial sort of a basis for government spending for the next 10 years, which was enacted by the House and probably will not be enacted by the Democrats if they vote together. Was there enough serious addressing of the entitlement issue, the Ponzi scheme of FDR called Social Security, the Ponzi scheme of LBJ called Medicare, in Congressman Ryan's budget?
Well, I think Paul was pretty open about that. He said that we have to start with Medicare, and the House conference agreed with that. He also said that it was not the end of trying to get us out from the pending implosion of the big government's bureaucratic state. So when we look at it, that is the premise he took it from, being completely honest about it, and we are still continuing to work on solutions. As I point out in the book that I've written, there's Social Security reforms that are possible, and that more importantly than just simply having the government's reduction in terms of control over Medicare and Medicaid spending by empowering the individual recipient to have more control and patient choice, we also have to increase the supply of health care. Fundamentally, Judge, what the problem is with Obamacare is that they believe government can control the supply of health care in a time of rising demand and ergo reduce costs. Studying the law of supply and demand, we know that that is simply false. The less supply of something in a time of rising demand, the more costs go up, which leads us to the ineluctable conclusion of government rationing.
In my view, you're 100% correct, and your explanation is clear and lucid. Unfortunately, not all of your colleagues in the Congress understand that, and I am fearful, correct me if I'm wrong or tell me what the facts are, that even Republican leadership may not fear that. Now, I know Lyndon Johnson said there are two things you never want to see being made: sausage and legislation. And legislation's being made as we speak. The Republican leadership in the House, Vice President Biden, and some Democrats are negotiating the president's request to borrow another $2.7 trillion. Will the Republican leadership in the House understand the law of supply and demand, or will they let the president borrow more money and accept sort of empty promises to spend less?
Well, first, Judge, obviously there's a third thing you never want to see made, and that's Lyndon Johnson president. But despite the fact that that has occurred, what we're seeing in the Republican Party is an understanding that the welfare state, the great society that he has created, which is different from the safety net, is no longer sustainable. Government can't keep spending money trying to make people who can take care of themselves dependent upon it for both political purposes or some ideological phantasm.
Amen.
What we need, and I think Republicans understand this, and the beauty of our democracy, Judge, is that every 2 years there's a peaceful revolution at the ballot box, and those who get it will be elected, and those who don't won't. And eventually the Americans who understand this far better than anyone, who have had to make difficult decisions within their own family budgets or within their own businesses, are going to demand the government do the same.
What is the message of your new book?
Well, the message is fundamentally this: is philosophy is the negation of ideology. Ideology causes problems because it tries to fit the world to your mind, and we've seen the disastrous consequences of that. It then shows how the challenges the greatest generation faced mirror those of our own time. And it concludes by reminding us that the solution to our problems is not to run to the temptation of big government to trade your liberty and prosperity in exchange for ephemeral state security. Instead, it is to seize your own freedom, pursue your own happiness, work with your fellow Americans to get us through this difficult time. And we will get through it, Judge.
We will.
We always have, and we will.
The book is Seizing Freedom. Congressman Thaddeus McCotter, thanks very much. Seize freedom. Thanks very much.